and no doubt whose side he's on. Over a year now as Agassi's coach, and
1 minute.
It's working fine. Tactics through. In many ways, Schuettler, he's not a carbon copy of Agassi, but a similar type player. But the trouble is he doesn't do anything quite as well. There's Gil Reyes, Agassi's fitness coach, and fitness is another problem that Schuettler has to encounter here. Agassi, one of the fittest guys, if not the fittest guy on the tour.
Yes, I don't think Schuettler will be put into the shade in terms of fitness. But of course, there's a lot more to it than that. Pressure can eat into you, can etch into you, and this is a first time for Schuettler in the final stages of a big tournament. For Agassi, well, he knows all about it, therefore he's that much more prepared. And as you say, they play a very similar game. It'll be a hard-hitting game from the back of the court.
The final of the Australian Open 2003. The Germans here coming in hope, I think, rather than expectation. Is on the left, Dirk Heelhoff, who's the coach. Patrick Kuhnen, another German, on the right. Needs a good start here. Explosive mover around the court, but then so is Andre at the age of 32. Andre, the oldest finalist here for 28 years, since Ken Rosewall. And if he wins, he'll become only the 4th man to win the Australian Open 4 times. The others, all Australians. Emerson in the 60s, Jack Crawford in the 30s, and Rosewall in the 50s and 70s. Don't forget our SMS game. If you think that Schuettler's going to win the match, set 1 is what you text. If you think Andre's going to win, set 2. 85050 is the number to dial. 85050. Punch that in on your mobile phone. Set 1 if you think this guy's going to win. Set 2 for Agassi. Prizes, well, ranging from Eurosport merchandising, tickets to the Heineken Cup, tickets to Roland Garros, top prize, a holiday for 4 in the Alps. Now let's settle back and enjoy the final. Schuettler won the toss and will serve first. Rather frightening move from Andre on the very first point. Andre was asked about Schuettler beforehand. He was full of praise, but said, to be honest, as far as I'm concerned, it's getting my game to the level I want and then asking the other guy to get better than that. He's looking good. There's a danger, Fu, I think a real danger. This might be one of the shortest finals in Grand Slam history.
There is that possibility, of course. I think some of the rallies, though, might just prevent it from being that short. Schuettler being as quick as he is, but here 3 break points down immediately.
That's what you call keeping the points short. A quite brilliant start from Andre, and sending all sorts of messages out to the German he's facing and to the Germans in the crowd, of whom there are quite a few.
And it's this sort of electricity that he had in his semi-final and also in the quarter-final. He virtually put Ferreira and Grosjean in their places right away.
In his other finals here, he had a cracker in '95, of course, against Sampras. That went 4 sets. Beat Kafelnikov after dropping a set. He played wonderful tennis after that to beat Kafelnikov. And then in 2001, destroyed Arnaud Clément in 3. but his tennis against Kafelnikov after dropping the first set was some of the best I've ever seen him play. Sometimes he gets a bit twitchy at the start, almost races a bit ahead of himself.
15 love.
But it looks like everything's working in the right order here.
And very interesting that he's coming into the net quite as much. Obviously not scared of the Schuettler passing shots.
The weather, well, it's not as hot as it has been. The sun's out now, but as you'll see, as we speak, it's moving behind cloud, fair amount of cloud. There is the great Ken Rosewall, 4 times a champion here. It's a frightening start, this, from Andre.
It's just amazing that he is able to put it all together so well. There are undoubtedly nerves in him, but you wouldn't think so.
Game Agassi.
And of course, it's bringing up all the fears that Schuettler might have felt
2 games to love.
in this match. They're being realized out there at the moment. It's difficult just to get your feet down.
Yes, to mention Agassi's coming into the net, for instance, in his match against Ferreri, he came into the net 11 times in 152 points. So that's once in every 14 points. And here he seems to be rushing in all the time, playing all court tennis.
Yes. Prolonged applause. Schuettler. Good to see that he's appreciating the joke. But the good news for him is that he also knows that Agassi is human.
15 love.
It's a bit inhuman what was going on before that. And Agassi will love to see that shot.
15 all.
Just what he's after.
Hasn't got bad technique on that single-hander. A little bit of acting by Schuettler would at least given him some light relief and helped him to relax a little bit.
You should cut that out for the time being, at least.
Never an easy shot to play unless you're a world expert at it. Funnily enough, Agassi does play that one well, the single-hander down the line.
40-30.
When he makes so many of those, it's quite a surprise when he misses one. He didn't miss by much. was a damaging rally for Schuettler early on. It's interesting to see where they're playing the ball. Agassi just inside the baseline, Schuettler some 2 meters the far side.
Make sure it is switched off.
You wouldn't want too many more rallies like that in the next few minutes.
Agassi really looking to open up the court with those cross-court backhands. The roll backhand, which of course he is so good at.
Advantage Agassi.
So Agassi with a point now for a double break.
This is, of course, where Schuettler's at his most vulnerable. Just doesn't have quite enough power on the serve. Best of 5-set match will only average around about 5-6 aces all match.
Oh dear. And that will hurt. He needs none of those if he's going to control Agassi or have any chance of controlling Agassi in this kind of move. So Agassi leads 3-love. It's when you look at them down on court, Schuettler already breathing heavily, and he has got nothing that he can hurt Agassi with. The speed is not going to hurt Agassi. That's his big weapon, isn't it? It's his speed around the court. That in itself, with Agassi playing as he is not going to be too much use.
No, the only good, of course, that it'll do him is if he can run enough balls down, get enough back, and hope in the end that Agassi starts missing. We've seen Agassi miss before. I remember him here against Alberto Beresetegi when he was controlling the match so well. Beresetegi just got enough balls back. But where Beresetegi was calm in the crisis, Schuettler, it seems to me, it's just got a little reckless there. We hope it's only at the start of the match, but that certainly was a very reckless volley, a wild volley.
Terrific stadium, wonderful sight. And Andre Agassi playing champion tennis at the moment. The crowd at this stage will be hoping that Schuettler can get something going. They don't want this to finish too early. They want to see Agassi pushed.
Love 15.
Remind Agassi of the cheap points he was getting against Ferreira in the semi-final.
Yes, unbroken against Ferreira. Schuettler using the single-handed backhand a lot more than he usually does, chiefly because he's expecting to be pushed wide so often by Agassi.
Schuettler way beyond the baseline. Do you think Schuettler would be advised to try and move up towards the baseline, or is that an impossibility against Andre?
No, I think it's something he could possibly try. I don't think he needs to panic just yet, but it seems to me it's not going to be long before he has to really look for something really different. Of course, Agassi learned to do it in his early days, playing and practicing with Bollettieri, who was a great believer in taking the early ball.
30.
First double.
Eventually, of course, fell out with Nick Bollettieri.
Just leaking unusually because he got a good backhand, leaking a few shots there.
Well, the pressure is so undue, Schuettler feels, I suppose, every time he has a ball in the comfort zone that he's got to produce something quite spectacular, as Agassi is doing. Otherwise, he's going to be pushed further.
You mentioned earlier on Beresitegi, which is a good call for when Agassi broke down to a certain extent. But what helped him break down then was Beresitegi, who did have a weapon, didn't he? That forehand was destructive. There's nothing really destructive about Schuettler.
No, that's right. Beresitegi, a bit more power.
Well played, lucky, but it was a lovely little shot, and let's not begrudge him his luck right now.
Advantage Schuettler.
Just away. Boy, he had to work for it, but well played, Rainer Schuettler. Worked so well in that rally and then nearly shot himself in the foot, but he's got the break.
Yes, I think he could see the game looming and just didn't give that forehand quite enough, but fortunately Agassi letting him off the hook. So Schuettler at least doing to Agassi what Ferreira was unable to do. Agassi not pressing forward now as much as he did almost frenetically at the start.
And that looked a bit like Andre in the mirror, didn't it? The way he came forward there and took it early.
Good footwork by Schuettler. You can see that Agassi really doesn't think much of this Schuettler serve, and the second serve does sit up, but perhaps just trying to spank it a little too hard.
First ace for the German. That's pretty quick. Agassi doesn't serve any quicker than that. Well played. Well, he's announced himself in this match. It may be too late to save this set, but he's a contender again. Three successive aces, and it's 3-2. That was good to see for him.
I think terrifically heartening for everybody, because Schuettler suddenly got a lot of fans because they felt that he was an underdog, but after those first three games they knew he was an underdog, so the crowd supporting him. And I think his resilience is terrific. Serving like that, a love service game. He just had the 5-all match against Andy Roddick and served only 6 aces, so 2 aces in a row for Schuettler is a tremendous fillip, no doubt about it. And he'll feel that he can break back here, just as Agassi feels that Schuettler's serve is something he can attack. So Schuettler will feel he may not necessarily be able to attack it. He doesn't have quite those skills that Agassi has, but he knows it's breakable.
So interesting seeing Agassi's concern. Whatever the situation is, he might be 2 sets up, 5 love up, he still has absolute concern on his face. He would never be dismissing Schuettler, whatever the scoreline. Suddenly, it's the German spanking winners.
Love 15.
And this is what his speed does for him. Nice bit of anticipation, but over there quickly, so therefore able to get a lot of weight into the shot.
It's there, but is a growing sense of confidence about the way that Schuettler's moving.
If Schuettler can produce down the line a lot on both forehand and backhand, he has a real chance, particularly if he can do it with pace. Force Agassi to stretch that much more.
Schuettler's pace forcing the error out of Agassi there.
15-30.
But it was a grueling rally for the German, that one. He's fit, Schuettler, but is he fit enough to cope with this for an hour or so? It's a frightening pace. And as ever in his matches, it's Andre who's setting that pace. No, the drop shot is hurting him. And I think that Schuettler is really beginning to hurt already. It's only in the 6th game of the match, but fit as he is, he's one of the fittest players on the tour, Schuettler. He'll be gasping for air.
Well, I've never seen him play quite as many drop shots as this. He's really overdoing it a little bit, but it's obviously a game plan to try and break Agassi down, to try and bring Agassi in to the net, where obviously he's not quite as happy as he is at the baseline.
Game Agassi.
Important hold. And Agassi does so.
Agassi leads 4 games to 2.
Good stuff. Very one-sided at the start, but Schuettler competing admirably right now. He'll be grateful it's not as hot as it has been. Otherwise, this surely would be too much to bear, this pace.
Love 15.
His first double.
Well, this is going to be the problem. He's using that single-hander so often now, much more than I've ever seen him do, Schuettler. And that's credit to Agassi, that when it comes to hitting the two-hander, of course, he may not quite just have the feel that he normally has.
Two break points, certainly going for it in this game, but just the wrong side of the margins. And Agassi with break points to break for the third time.
Well, after the love service game and ending up his last service game with 2 aces, not a first serve in here. Just losing a little bit of rhythm in his attempt to crack the big serve.
Having worked really well to turn 2 breaks into 1, that'll be very disappointing for Schuettler. Agassi turning up the heat.
Agassi leads 5 games to 2.
And Schuettler already feeling it. When you come back, it's 5-2. Andre serving for the set.
Chris World, everyone can enjoy audio video on demand.
I remember talking at length to Andre in Shanghai of last year, and he was taking me through his training regime, which is quite amazing. And he's saying that once you've done the work, it's not that difficult to keep it going mentally or physically. There are some days when it's really tougher than others. But he said to lose that base and then try to find it again, he said at my age it would be absolutely hopeless. He has to keep on keeping on. Serving for the set.
There's that shot down the line that on both sides can be so effective. Agassi's serve percentage is likely to be quite a bit lower in this match because he is really just trying to blast his opponent off the court.
Even Andre saw red there. It was too inviting.
Love 30.
I have a feeling for a split second he was tempted to smash the ball, thought he might be able to smash it, but it just didn't get up quite high enough for an overhead.
Yeah, in the corner it was. Amazing shot. Schuettler spending so much of his time now at full stretch. Second ace for Andre. Come on. So it's been another excellent set. One hiccup when he was broken, but already had 2 breaks under his belt then. Here's set point for Andre after just short of half an hour. Andre didn't hear it. Top class. She knows it. And it looks as if he's on his way to his 4th title here. Schuettler in the end did manage to bring the best out of Agassi, which is bad news for him. So difficult for Schuettler. I think he's playing the right game though, Frew.
Well, it was a frightening start, and I think he's actually done pretty well to at least break the Agassi serve in reply, because it was a whirlwind of a start by Agassi, and you can see there that first serve percentage where in his match against Ferreira it was 73 for the whole match, dropping down to 58, which is below par for Agassi. He's usually in the low 60s. Schuettler too, well below par, but that's the pressure that Agassi is putting on him on those returns that Agassi has. I think what Schuettler could try, and he might only well resort to it if he's down, gets down in this early in the second set, is to try and moonball Agassi. But where Agassi has a real edge on most players in order to combat that is he can take the ball on the rise so well. He can take such an early ball, and of course rather than let the ball bounce up, he'd just step in and take it early. But it might be worth a try if Schuettler, who I'm sure is going to just try the same tactic for at least half the way through this next set. But if he's down, he may well try it and see what happens.
Second set.
Well, it was desperately one-sided early on, but once Schuettler got involved, it was a terrific contest. But
Take your seats, please.
another set like that would really bring some wear and tear onto Schuettler. He's coming to this very fresh, as we were saying earlier on. He only had to play 5 matches to get here. He didn't play the match against Safin because Safin withdrew.
And
they've not been unduly rigorous, his matches so far. This one, very different.
That
serve out wide is really doing him a power of good. His 3rd ace. Those are the shots you were mentioning through down the line, forehand and backhand. He needs to get, he's not getting that backhand.
Not quite enough, but it's all the pressure that's built up because of that electric start by Agassi. Schuettler just feels he's got to do something special every time he's got the ball in his sights or in his hand.
A rare unforced error from the great man.
Schuettler.
Punchy serving. Serving, remember, let him down to a large degree early on in the match when he was broken 2 successive times. A very different start to set number 2.
And against Roddick in 2 sets, he lost his opening service game, so this is a bit of a bonus for Schuettler. We may see Agassi getting a little irritated with the amount of time that Schuettler takes in between serves. There's quite a preparation for him as he sweeps away the court with his left foot. And I have seen him reprimanded in matches before, Schuettler. And Agassi's not the sort of type who likes to be kept waiting.
No, everything has to be at an express pace. I imagine that if he and Steffi are doing the washing up at home, it gets done in 14 seconds.
I've stayed in many an American household, and I don't think I've ever seen an American doing the washing up. They usually got 2 or 3 dishwashers.
Overall, must have been very close. He's Agassi looking up and not sure he's quite aware, but Mike Morrissey overruled that.
I think you can see why. I was stunned when the ball was called out.
Schuettler not impressed. He likes to make a stand, and why not? Terribly lucky with the margins in this game, has he? Schuettler, another one that found the line. Only a bit of the line too.
Yes, quite. And there's always the feeling, of course, that there may be a little favoritism for the top dog.
Game Agassi.
So Agassi counters an easy service game from Schuettler with one of his own.
1 game.
Schuettler still only serving at 44% first serves in. Agassi at around 60.
And enlightening too the fact that Agassi now is much more content to play his usual game from the back of the court, not any of the net rushing tactic that he employed early on. All that was part of his idea, just to get right on top of Schuettler, to blanket the court.
Yeah, just a little stumble from Andre, but I don't think it made any difference. It was one of Schuettler's best shots so far.
30 love.
Nice bit of a kick serve there for Schuettler. That'll give him hope too that Agassi's not just going to ram every second serve of his, because as we could see, Agassi had to resort to a single-hander himself. It's what happens, I suppose, if you use it more regularly. Agassi would then anticipate and be able to bring the two hands into play.
Outrageous play from Andre Agassi.
Well, each trying to out-angle one another, and I was in a way surprised Schuettler didn't play that one around the net post. He would have gained a lot of friends had he done that, of course. Perfectly legal.
Making the move to the net now a little bit more frequently.
Schuettler leads 2-1.
And precise little volley. Schuettler playing so much better now than he was at this stage in the first set.
Go back a little more, a little more. No, to the left, a little to the left. A little bit, now a little bit more back. Back, go back. Good. To the right.
In every moment of the year, Sicily is so beautiful, you won't want to see anything else.
Down. Okay.
Sicily, everything else is in the shade.
For the first time, men flew around.
Accelerate down the launch pad, time to lift off, and reach out for the far horizon. The Ski Jumping World Cup. The breathtaking quest to dominate the skies. And so many die-hard challenges. The Ski Jumping World Cup with the K120 from Sapporo, Sunday in the Eurosport Winter Park.
The Rod Laver Arena looking good, and Rainer Schuettler performing well here now. On level terms with Andre in the second set. 1-2. First set to Agassi and a canter. Did well there, Schuettler. Kept the ball deep under pressure. That time the backhand down the line did work. Good spell here, very good spell from Rainer Schuettler.
In the previous game, the forehand down the line had Agassi stretching on the backhand. Here the backhand down the line does a similar job.
15-30.
And a timely ace, his fourth. That was weak.
Yes, the unforced errors count Schuettler's early on were, I think, perhaps a little unfair, because it seemed to me that he was forced into so many of the errors, whereas that was a limp shot.
Game Agassi.
There's the frustration. Yes, I sometimes wonder if the guys who do the stats can ever conceive what it must be like to play a Grand Slam final against Andre Agassi. Otherwise, they might not be quite as brutal as they are.
And certainly hopes for Schuettler, even though he squandered that 30-love lead. Perhaps just a little bit of hesitation from Agassi, who looked so pure and undisturbed early on.
Love 15.
This is where the mind has got to be strong.
Agassi was his first drop shot and it was a perler.
Yeah, Schuettler seems to have given that up for the while, and he played a few too many. Agassi, you can see that his guy looks as if he's going to use the left hand on the racket and then just releases.
Love 40.
Another double. That's what we mean by pressure. It'll be down as another unforced error, but Agassi forcing all the time. 3 break points here. It's in. Boy, didn't hold back there. Great retrieving from Andre. What a shot from Schuettler.
15-40.
But can he possibly produce 2 more rallies like that one? This will be big if he can hold on here.
30-40.
Again, that advantage. He had the option of going cross court, but down the line, that much more effective.
Oh, a stunning shot at a crucial moment. And Andre draws first blood in the second set. He's a break to the good.
Go back a little more, a little more. No, to the left, a little to the left. A little bit, now a little bit more back. Back, go back. Good. To the right.
In every moment of the year, Sicily is so beautiful, you won't want to see anything else.
Down. Okay.
Sicily, everything else is in the shade.
For the first time, men flew around.
Accelerate down the launch pad. Time to lift off and reach out for the far horizon. The Ski Jumping World Cup. The breathtaking quest to dominate the skies. And so many die-hard challenges. The Ski Jumping World Cup with the K120 from Sapporo. Sunday in the Eurosport Winter Park.
Welcome back. Andre stepping up the heat again after a very good spell from Schuettler. It's been a terrific second set, but Agassi is the governor again. Terrific. I'm loving this proof. Still, there's a sense of inevitability that Agassi is going to win this, and possibly, probably in 3, but it's terrific.
Well, every now and again there's just a little bit of hope. For instance, Agassi there, the first to try the moon ball.
He looks very at home at the net there.
And Schuettler suddenly beginning to look like Sampras at the net.
Love 30.
Remember, it was the US Open final that Agassi lost last year.
Bit of a slap.
Well, it sat up invitingly, but he just didn't get everything together, the German. Wants the ball kid back in position. Otherwise, the world's lopsided. A kick serve, of course, that can be so effective on this rebound ace court. Court really which suits Agassi so well, because the ball just sits up a little bit more, where he can really pop his ground strokes.
40-30.
That missed return at love 30 probably on his mind. Oh, beautiful. What talent to be able to take the pace off a shot like that.
Agassi leads 4-2.
Well, he's got terrific technique, of course. He's got such wonderful control of the head of the racket as Agassi. And then, too, it's that uncanny anticipation. It's a bit reminiscent of the Clement Agassi final, where of course Clement really, with Agassi in the mood for a win, didn't have the weapons really to respond. 4-2 that was.
Love 50.
It was Clement's best friend on the tour who was Agassi's victim in the quarterfinal, Sébastien Grosjean. And there was a feeling there that there was a white flag showing after about a set and a half. Don't think we'll get that from Schuettler. But he must stop playing those. They are no good to him at all.
And I didn't like the signs on the first point either. It was just a little look of desperation about Schuettler, and this, I think, endorses that feeling.
Love 40.
Beautifully rhythmic, total control, and time to spare. And here are 3 break points for a second successive break, and surely the second set.
Game Agassi.
Having praised him to the heights, that was a poor game from Schuettler. But Agassi took it with some aplomb, and once again there looks a gulf between the two. Schuettler can stay with Agassi in fits and starts, but not for lengthy periods.
No, his problem has been the odd good game and then just lapsing, as we saw there. And I think not only was his serve broken, but I just have a feeling his spirit was really broken in that game. And I sensed on the first point, perhaps it had to do with that love 30 situation in the previous, where he wasn't able to take advantage of the lead. But there just was not the spirit in that game from Schuettler. And the serve at love 40, I think, again, indicative of that fact too. It was wild. It was almost as if he was trying to hit Agassi, put Agassi out of the match with it. It was that far long.
Great for the ball kids to get that close to Andre Agassi when he's playing tennis that's regal. Some worrying close-ups of Rainer Schuettler during the change round as he dropped his serve. He did look a little desperate. 5-2.
Well, he's not going to moonball. He's not going to slow things down. He's just going to rip everything by the look of things.
And Agassi, whose father was a boxer, I think senses he's got someone on the ropes here, and he's giving him some brutal punishment. Well, the last three games have come in a rush. Here are 3 set points for a 2-set lead. And the second set lasted just 23 minutes. It's a cruise in the park at the moment for Andre, and he's just a set away from his 4th Australian Open title.
A Grand Slam in the UK. A Grand Slam in France. A Grand Slam in Australia. Another Grand Slam brought to you by Kia. With Chris World, everyone can enjoy audio video on demand.
Time.
Two things happened there, didn't they, Fru? Andre stepped up a gear, and I think Rainer stepped down a gear.
Yes, I think Schuettler might well have had it. I used to be the player coach of a team tennis team in the States, and we would allow substitutions. Well, I'd be bringing one in right now. Who would it be? Well, if it had to be German, I suppose Sech or preferably Becker. But even they would probably come off second best with Agassi in this mood.
Becker, the last German finalist, last German champion back in 91 and 96.
Little grimace from Agassi. He knows if he can win this game, he's home.
Good patience then from Schuettler.
30 love.
Kept in the rally, didn't try anything silly.
Schuettler's victims in his two tournament wins were Tim Henman in Qatar and Michel Kratochvil in Shanghai.
Well done. Picked himself up well there, Rainer Schuettler.
First game, third set.
Yes, after he won the Doha tournament, he praised the court in Qatar, say he liked fast balls, he likes the fast court, and he said, I like to sweat. Well, he's certainly sweating here.
Well, the sweat in that last game would have been the sort that he likes, because it was rewarding, whereas otherwise I think it's been a mental perspiration. It's been a bit of a trial so far, but he moved well there. Agassi just seems to have all the tricks of the trade, doesn't he? A high backhand, lovely angled backhand volley or smash. Easier to put out the one arm to play that single-handed backhand to then get back into court for the next shot, but I think it's costing him. There is about the two-handed game a total commitment. Perhaps really that is more essential than staying in the rally a little longer.
Game Agassi.
Yeah, I think he just got the centre line. He's quizzical. He's right to give a look or two. Think it just got the centre line. Couldn't overrule Mike Morrissey, but it's often a game that the players play with the umpires, just putting a little pressure on, a bit of guilt.
That's how he started his last service game in the last set, lost it to Love.
Not a good rally from Schuettler. Plenty of physical commitment, but the execution was poor.
Yes, I'm just not sure that there's the mental commitment. It's that sort of attitude that's a little despairing.
It was such good defense from Andre, wasn't it, in the first two shots? And then he quickly worked him over. And here are 3 break points.
Game Agassi. Agassi leads 2 games to 1.
Super game from Agassi, and Schuettler really backing off and thoroughly outclassed and looking a little demoralized now. It's 2-1 to the 3-time champion.
If ever a sport demanded self-belief, this is it. Hurtle down a ramp 185 meters long and launch at 100 kilometers per hour. The landing is more than 200 meters and several seconds away. More than enough time to lose control and crash to the ground. You have to believe that you can fly. The Ski Jumping World Cup from Tauplitz, qualifying Friday with the K185, Saturday on Eurosport.
Want more ski jumping? Go to Eurosport.com and get it all.
Summer-Ritz in Switzerland, synonymous with winter glamour, tailor-made for the World Championships. The Alpine Ski World Championships from February 2nd to 16, live on Eurosport.
There's a lovely little visual interlude while you're at the break. There were shots of Dirk Herdhoff, the coach of Rainer Schuettler, clenching his fist and exhorting him to really give it everything. Schuettler was looking at him, and I just wonder what he was thinking. He might have been saying, well, you come down here and play him.
Agassi, of course, has lost major finals before, 6 of them, but 4 of them have been to Sampras. And the other 2 to Andres Gomez at the French and Jim Courier at the French.
That's first serve.
Yeah, it's interesting. We had an interview with Jim yesterday about Andre here on British Eurosport, and Jim was saying Andre's playing so well. He said, but this court is just tailor-made for Andre Agassi. He's got everything he needs. Perfect bounce, the ball sits up so he can execute his shots just like that. He said you couldn't have designed a court for Andre better than this one.
Yes, and of course that suggests, and quite right too, that he's a little bit more disadvantaged on a grass court where the ball keeps that much lower. And probably wishes he'd come down to Australia a lot sooner than he did. He didn't come here for years.
Well, those who saw him practicing at Kooyong, let alone playing, were telling everybody, just watch out for Andre this year. He looks in amazing shape. They were right.
Game Agassi.
And it's his extraordinary physical condition he talks about endlessly that enables him to have the confidence to go out there and execute as he does. To have a little bit of talent as well.
He has talent to win the last 16 points on serve.
He just race away when he times it as well as that.
Takes so much of a longer swing, which is why, of course, he can't take the early ball that Agassi can. He's just not versed in that. Hasn't practiced it enough to try and play up the court.
Well, two of his best winners back-to-back that we've had in the match.
30 love.
Showing that he's got the power at times, but of course it's not often enough. It's not at all times that he has it. Or if there is power, the ball's not necessarily in.
30-15.
And of course, that element in his game is shown up even more visually in a best-of-5 set match. So good. Alert to every conceivable opportunity.
30 all.
Well, perhaps as the match reaches its climax, he's going to look to finish it as he started it. There's much more play at the net.
Very quickly from 30 love, it's 30-40. And a point for a double break, surely the match here. I think we'll be going through the motions after this, if Andre takes this point. The serve has gone to pieces.
Game Agassi.
I don't know what happened to him there,
Agassi leads 4 games to 1.
but I think he was virtually in mental breakdown. That's what this guy does to you. He's nearly there now. There possibly may be a story we don't know about, but I'm amazed through that he's succumbing now. Agassi broke him, didn't he? Really broke his spirit, as you say, midway through the second set. From then on, it's been desperately one-sided.
Yes, well, they so often are, aren't they? I mean, even if you're taking the reverse, if Schuettler had 2 sets of love against Agassi, the chances are that the third set will go quickly to Schuettler. In a situation like this, where Agassi just broke him to such an extent early on, it's very, very difficult for Schuettler to get back into this match. It happens in little bits where he finds some form, but he just can't sustain it. I so often have made the point that there are more 3-set finals than there are 4 sets or 5 sets. And it just shows, you win the first set, the chances are that you're going to go on and win in straight sets. And that's assuming, too, that you've got 2 players who generally are closer in ranking, closer in form. And there's quite a disparity, naturally, between these two. So the gulf is going to extend even further between them.
30-15.
And the bookmakers, of course, were onto it. Agassi was a red-hot favourite, not just to win the match, but to win it in straight sets. And those who bet on it being shorter than their women's final, they too look as if they're going to be right. He's making some awful mistakes right now.
Well, I think the mind is shattered, and it's like a mirror, just impossible to pick up the pieces and put it together again.
Game Agassi.
He didn't look that nervous when he started.
Agassi leads.
I don't think it's nerves now taking its toll. He's just been ground down by this almost superhuman play from Andre Agassi. And his spirit's gone.
Please. Cue.
Serving to stay in the match. Didn't bother to go for that. Not that he'd have got it, but
Not 15.
his cause is hopeless now.
15 all.
Ace number 4. Even there, with Andre slipping and way out of court, he couldn't find the winner.
Yes, and it must almost be embarrassing for him, because the sympathy is just oozing out of this crowd. That he can't feed off it. It'll soon be tea time.
I think they want their money back, though. Some of it, they've been a bit shortchanged as far as quantity of action. No doubting the quality. 2 championship points for Andre. And I'm glad he was able to pick that off. It would be good for Agassi to win it rather than Schuettler to lose the final point. Wants to finish it just a little bit too quickly. It's in.
Advantage Agassi.
Nearly took him out. 3rd championship point. Great stuff. Agassi is champion for the 4th time. And she will have to play mixed doubles with him at Roland Garros. The greatest entertainer the sport's known strutted his stuff here at Melbourne Park and completely demolished and demoralised Rainer Schuettler. And he's fit enough for a couple more matches this afternoon.
That's the sort of look he has, that he actually wants to go a bit further. A AAA performance by AA.
And it took just an hour and a quarter. Would you believe it? It was, I would think, one of the shortest finals in Grand Slam history. Just amazing. His 8th Grand Slam title.
Well, he became a believer a few years ago when he beat Sampras down here, having worked harder than Sampras did in December in that little off-season that the players have. And so he did again. And it's always so important to come down to Australia prepared, and there's no doubt that those who saw him in Kooyong, where he won the tournament there, beat Grosjean in the final. It's an exhibition tournament, but there was no doubt that he was in peak physical condition and borne fruit here by really a demolition job. Almost perfect stats for Agassi.
Just 13 unforced errors at the pace that he plays. Phenomenal.
And it was that whirlwind start that was just, well, quite scintillating. And it really, I felt, put Schuettler in his place. He even went into the net a few times. You can see his percentage of net points played there, just 11 of 14 won. But a lot of those were early on, where he just established himself as the boss and Schuettler the boy. And it never really looked like changing.
The official time, 1 hour and 16 minutes.
Yes, you'll go back in history and probably find there have been quicker finals because, of course, in days gone by, they didn't used to sit down at the change events. You didn't have the clock in between games, etc., etc. So modern games do tend to be a little long, but had this been played, say, 20 years ago, it would have probably been in under an hour.
Well, I mentioned earlier on that interview two nights ago that he had with John McEnroe. It was fascinating. Two big egos, two very intelligent, two of the most intelligent players ever to play this game. And McEnroe wouldn't be dissuaded when he asked him, are you playing better now than ever before in your life? He just laughed to begin with, and then when McEnroe pursued the point, he said, I guess if you take into account the years I've been playing the game, the fitness level that I am now, I guess you're probably right.
Yes, of course, and what he's implying by that is that after all these years, he's got that much savvier, he's that much wiser, and providing the fitness and the brain can be equally as sharp, then he's got so much more to bring on court with him. He's got so many more shots in his bag, and thus he displayed today particularly much more of an all-court game.
Being informed of the media requirements, which are probably going to take longer than the match itself. And I didn't think the presentation party are quite ready yet. They might have thought this was going to be one-sided, but it's not quite as one-sided as it turned out. It's Agassi's 55th title. He's 42nd on hard courts, more than any other player playing the game today. And his 8th Grand Slam. He moves up to number 6 in the all-time records of Grand Slam players. The list, of course, headed by his mate Pete Sampras.
And a big word, of course, for the 30 and over, having won a major at the age of 32. Got some ways to go to match the likes of Rosewell, who was winning them well into the 30s. Perhaps there'll be a big story in America today, where a wide receiver playing for the Oakland Raiders, Jerry Rice, who's 40, reckoned to be one of the greatest NFL players of all time. A wide receiver. Well, here's one of the great receivers of all time too, winning a major in his 30s.
Jerry Rice, I think the 140-year-old who moves as quick as Andre. If not, perhaps, whisper it quietly, just a little bit quicker. But both overflowing with talent. What can Andre say to him? Bad luck, son. You got me on a great day.
Another chapter of the Australian Open Championship. But let's collectively thank the world's best players who've joined us here for the past 2 weeks. We've had a wonderful, wonderful tournament. I think you'll agree.
Craig Willis, the Master of Ceremonies here.
Would you now please make welcome the President of Tennis Australia, Mr. Jeff Pollard.
Prime Minister, Premier, Ambassador, Ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. What can you say about Andre Agassi's performance that hasn't already been said? Andre, you've been devastating, awesome for the last 2 weeks. Another undefeated visit to Australia, 4th-time winner of the Norman Brooks Trophy, best result ever by a non-Australian.
This is 21st successive win, this was, of the Australian Open.
So if you want a challenge to come back again, and I can assure you everybody here wants you to come back again, you can tackle Roy Emerson's record of 6 Australian titles, or you can tackle Ken Rosewell's record of being the oldest winner, not the youngest as well, but the oldest winner at 37 years of age. And Rainer, it's been a great fortnight for you too, your first Grand Slam final. I can assure you you've made a lot of friends here in Australia, and I'm certain you've made a lot of friends back home in Germany.
Big for them, of course, with Kiefer and Haas out injured. They never expected to see one of their own in the final.
And I know we'll watch with interest your progress over the next 12 months, and we'll look forward to welcoming you back here in Melbourne for the 2004 Australian Open. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our major sponsor, Kia, associate sponsor, Heineken, our other on-court sponsors, official suppliers, Tourism Victoria, the referee, umpires, linespersons, ball persons, court services, statisticians, St John Ambulance, the ushers, security, the Melbourne Park staff, the media, Channel 7 and all the international television stations, our Chief Executive of the Australian Open, Paul McNamee, who leads a wonderful team of Australian Open staff, both permanent and casual. And I'd like to make a special mention of our chairman of the Australian Open Management Group, Jim Reid, who's not been enjoying the best of health, but Jim has been part of this Australian Open since it moved permanently to Melbourne in 1973 and has seen the tremendous growth that we've experienced over 30-something years, Jim, and to you, thank you for all you've done for the 30 years of the Australian Open. And finally, to you, the spectators, thank you again for your wonderful support. We've had over 500,000 people this fortnight. The total is 512,225. Thank you all for being wonderful supporters of tennis.
Thought for a moment he was going to name them.
Thank you, Jeff. And we're joined by Mr. Young Suk Ko, the Managing Director, Asia and Pacific for Kia Motors Corporation, who will present the cheques. Jeff will present the trophies. Firstly, to our runner-up, to our finalist here in the Men's Singles Championship, a fine athlete and a fine young man, Rainer Schuettler from Germany.
Well, he won't be feeling terribly proud now, but in a few days' time he will be. It's been an extraordinary performance from Rainer Schuettler to get here.
I mean, first of all, congratulations to Andre. There's not a lot to say. I tried my best, but he was simply too good for me today. And yeah, and there's one positive thing. I think everybody's looking forward to the French Open.
Reference to Steffi and Andre playing mix.
No, and thanks to Dirk, my coach. He's working with me for 10 years. Thanks for your support. It's great working with you. I hope we can 5-6 more years, or maybe 10, whatever. And thanks to Patrick. It was nice that he was here. Thanks to the president of the German Federation. He especially came today for the match. Thank you very much for the support. And I mean, it was great to play the first time in the Rod Laver Arena with the spectators like this. I mean, it's unbelievable. 15,000 people. It's an honor for me to play in this arena, and thanks for the support. I come back next year, and maybe I can go a step further.
Good to see him smiling. After the trauma of playing Andre, he doesn't look too traumatized.
And thanks to everybody involved in the tournament. I mean, they're doing a great job. They work really hard. I mean, if I had a wish, everybody tried the best to fulfill it. So thanks to the sponsors, Kia Motors, Heineken, to everybody from from linesman to whoever worked for the tournament. Thank you very much, and it was a real pleasure to play here. Thank you.
Yes, it will always be big in his life, what happened here this fortnight.
Rainer Schuettler from Germany. Well, this man's name has already been inscribed on this trophy on 3 previous occasions. I'm sure the man who'll be doing the engraving won't have any trouble in spelling the name yet again. Our champion for 2003, Andre Agassi of the United States of America.
Check for over £400,000, but it's the trophy that means the most. And the performance.
Thank you so much. You know, first thing I think I want to say is just to congratulate Rainer here, because, you know, when we leave here, we travel all over the world playing tournaments, and one thing I can honestly tell you is there's no harder working professional out there than this man. What you saw here for the last 2 weeks is what he pours in every tournament, and you're a credit to the game, and congratulations, Rainer. You know, I next actually want to thank my coach, Darren. Darren, to tell you a little bit about something about this guy is he took over working with me at a time when I didn't even know if I'd be able to play tennis again. 31 years old, not even sure if I'd be able to hit anywhere close to the same standard. And I think it speaks volumes for who he is as a professional and as a person, because unless I'm standing here holding up trophies, it'd be easy to question if he's done a good job or not. But he's stepped up and he's shown me what it truly means to put your head down and work hard, and I'll never forget it. It's been the greatest year, and thanks for everything, Darren.
Cheers to call Darren Cahill, a real fighter.
And I also want to say to Gil, who's been training me for 14 years, making it possible for me to be here today, man. And we've done this for a long time, and I don't know how I feel my body's good enough to be out here still, but I feel great, and I owe it to you. And I wouldn't be half the professional I am without you, and I wouldn't be half the man without you either. So thank you so much, Gil. You know, there's not a single day that's guaranteed or promised to us, and certainly days like this are very rare. So this means the world to me. I'm so honored to share it with all of you for so many years, and you know, you never know when it's your last, but I'll never forget being here. I'll never forget playing for you, and I'll never forget the support and the love I've always felt coming down here. I feel like I'm half Australian.
Prime Minister Howard enjoyed that.
I missed that. Well, between my coach and my son watching the Wiggles every morning, I darn sure feel. But I would love to thank the sponsors, because the sponsors come in and make this tournament possible, Kia and Heineken for their support. And I don't know what else to say except... Hey, I don't talk about your wife. At least as far as you know. So thanks for this special moment, and I'll come back and work hard for you as long as I can, I promise. Thank you so much.
He's got away with words as well as away with a racket.
Our champion for 2003, Andre Agassi.
And even though it was very, very short, I don't think the crowd do feel shortchanged.
Tennis calendar coming up for you, and of course too the mixed doubles at the French Open. We're looking forward to that with great relish. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our official presentation. That concludes proceedings here on Rod Laver Arena for the Australian Open Championship for 2003. We'll see you back here in January for the Australian Open for 2004.
And it'll be interesting to see how Leighton Hewitt, it's a perennial story. He failed to deliver here, and yet has gone on to be #1 in the world for the last 2 years. I think Agassi is going to run him very close.
Yes, I think he will. Of course, I think it's a bit wrong to say that he doesn't deliver in Australia. That's not what you meant, but that's what some people say, because he won the Masters Cup in Sydney last year, or the year before last. So he can do it here, and I'm just surprised that he didn't come up for this as we expected him to. Daryl Cahill did, though, his previous coach, but only in Agassi's corner.
But he's got off to just the start he wants this year, and Hewitt is going to have to be playing catch-up big time. Just a super performance from Andre. If you missed it, we'll be replaying at 8 o'clock. Annabelle Croft and Andrew Castle will be in the studio on British Eurosport. And a special highlight special tomorrow night at 10:45 tomorrow British time, 11:45 for those of you away from the UK. So he's champion for the 4th time, and he does seem to get better and better. No relinquishing of his powers at all. My thanks to everyone involved, to the whole commentary team, to Frew, to David Mercer, Joe Jury, Sam Smith, Chris Bradnam, Chris Bowers, Jason Goodall, Rashid Ahmed, Chris Wilkinson, Mark Petchy. We've all had a great time bringing you this. I hope you've enjoyed it. The live coverage for the first time. It'll be something that we'll do every year now. And I know it's been much appreciated. Our viewing figures have gone up right the way through the tournament. And it's been some tournament. Yunus El-Anawi and Andy Roddick provided us with the match of the tournament, but no doubt the man of the tournament is Andre Agassi.
Abgedeckt, die Matches mussten unterbrochen werden, aber Gott sei Dank nicht für allzu lange Zeit. Dann konnte es wieder weitergehen. Ja, ganz ärgerlicher Flugballfehler der Amerikanerin. Weiß natürlich, dass sie im Grunde genommen diese Partie nie und nimmer verlieren kann.
$15 all.
Aber das ist natürlich ein bisschen schlampig gespielt von der 27-Jährigen aus Newport Beach. Etwas unkonzentriert, nicht richtig bei der Sache. Und auch da gab sie unnötigerweise Rita Grande eine Konterchance.